This is a Jumbo Coffee morning. Today marks the first day of reading like Rory Gilmore for a week. The first time I ever watched this show through was when I was 16, so 8 years ago, but I also remember my sister would watch it every week when it would come out when I was really little. So this show has been in my life for quite some time. It's definitely my comfort show every autumn. It makes me feel like it's fall even when it's 90 degrees in Los Angeles. I chose this sweater for this intro because it reminded me the most in my closet as the first episode sweater that Rory wears. This week my goal is to read 2 books that are mentioned in the series. So the first book I'm going to read is Pride and Prejudice, based off of this scene right here.
Here.
Oh, how'd you like it?
Well, I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Aha, you liked it. You liked Jane Austen. I knew you would.
Basically, Rory lends a book written by Jane Austen to her boyfriend Dean. It's not specified if it's Pride and Prejudice, but we're just gonna assume it is. I have the Penguin Classic version. I've never read Pride and Prejudice, and I've never watched the movie because I've always wanted to read the book before watching the movie, but I've always been intimidated by the size and the language. It was written in the 1800s. Very quickly in passing, season 2, episode 18, Rory tells her mom Lorelai that she just finished reading Candide by Voltaire.
So how was your day?
I got an A on my physics test, and I finished Candide.
So I googled that because I'd never heard the book, and it's a famous classic written by a French philosopher, and it's a satire. I'm quite nervous to read it. The rules I have are dress like Rory as much as possible, which honestly is similar style to me. It's just knit sweaters, really. And read paperbacks, so no Kindle for this week, which... if you know me now, you know that is my pride and joy, is that little Kindle that I carry everywhere I go. Let's read like Rory Gilmore for a week, starting with Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Also, I left my tripod at my friend's house, so you guys are propped on 6 books right now that I just know Rory Gilmore would have never read. Let me show you. These were the books you were propped on. Miss Girl would never be caught dead reading All You're Perfect by Colleen Hoover. Okay, literally 4 pages in and already have things that I want to underline. Let's go. I found my fall bookmark. I had lost it for a few days and I found it. The books I've read so far this fall have been rated so high. We've literally had 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. I feel like with classic books, you can't even really rate it on the same 5-star rating, but I'm very excited to add it to the list. I got to chapter 7 and I think my brain needs a break because I need to turn it on way more than when I'm reading other books. But so far I'm enjoying it. I do have a long drive later, so I might audiobook it then, but we'll see. I personally have been cooped up in my bed, only driving to see Lyndon, go to workout classes, or get coffee. I have coasted through Pride and Prejudice, and I'll be honest guys, it has helped so much to audiobook this on my drives. Chapter 35 is a full-on letter. The whole chapter is a letter, and my initial brain thought process was, it's crazy that they had to handwrite all of this at the time. Obviously this is a fiction, but in order to communicate clearly and clear one's name and figure out solution when talking in person wasn't always available was to write letters. It's a detailed letter. I won't say more on that. Something I love about this book and Jane Austen's writing is how clear you can tell a character apart. The characters have such depth to them. Elizabeth Bennet, for example, is this super special, a little bit cheeky girl, and her sister is the eldest. She's just typical oldest daughter syndrome. And it's so fun to see even how the younger sisters are described, just how unique every character is, and you have such a great idea of their role in the book. So I really have enjoyed the character analysis while reading this book. Tomorrow, I'm literally so excited. One of my best friends and I are going to have a little reading date at the filming location of Chilton, which is the high school that Rory attends. I just thought it'd be so fun to include that in this video because I've wanted to go for a while, and if I'm reading like Rory, then I gotta go to her high school. I don't think I'll read much more, but it's a little bit of a drive away, so I'll probably audiobook there and back. I think I'll finish this pretty soon. Let's go to Chilton. We made it. Rory Gilmore Day. I feel like I'm watching Netflix right now.
I know, but like in real life.
finished. Just like that, we got to Finesse. First and foremost, I did utilize audiobook. Every single time I was in the car, I turned the audiobook on because I didn't want to stop reading, but I had to keep doing things. Had to drive places, had to run other errands. Whenever I read it next, because I really do want to reread it without audiobook, will take me a couple weeks. So the only reason that I know I read this in 4 days is because of audiobooking it. The audiobook almost made it feel more Victorian because the narrator obviously was British and it felt so fall. I literally am obsessed with this book. It's a classic. Like, do I even get to rate this? Do I have the honor, the voice to rate it? No, but it's a 5-star. The tropes that you see, even from like the 1800s, is so funny. We're still entertained by the same things. You have enemies to lovers. I'm obsessed. I loved it so much. I cannot wait to watch the movie. I went to where they filmed Chilton with one of my best friends, Sterling, and she was showing me all of the filming locations in England for Pride and Prejudice, and as she was showing them to me, she was like, wait, you don't even know what we're looking at. And I was like, no, I've never watched it. So I can't wait. I feel like this might spur me into a classics era because I just loved the writing. I feel like it made me smarter. The next book we're reading is Candide. I do have it. I'm so glad it's a small book because I'm just not really in the mood to read another book right now, but we gotta get this done in a week. I know, Lyndon hates when I rip things with my teeth, so I apologize, but oh, it's a baby. Oh, this is a tiny book. It's not even 100 pages. Let's go. Okay, I'm so encouraged now. Basically, what I saw online when I Googled it was that a French philosopher wrote this book, Voltaire, his most famous writing. It's a satire on optimism. I'm a very optimistic person, so let's see how this goes. This size difference is hilarious. Said Cacambo to Candide as soon as they had reached the frontiers of the Aurelians. I have like 15 pages left of this book, so I'm definitely about to finish. It is so weird. This book is crazy. I listened to a little bit on audio on my drive to coffee today. Other than that, it is such a quick read. It's just so weird. It's so, every misfortune that could happen to a person just keeps happening to everyone. This boy Candide is so naive sometimes because he has this idea of optimism that everything's for the best, and so he's so trusting of people that he shouldn't be trusting of. A pro that I love is how short these chapters are. It makes me feel so productive. Look how fast they are. This is the one I'm on right now. It's 5 pages long. Perhaps the most unique book I've laid my eyes on in a while. I finished Candide by Voltaire, and it is just so unreal what happens in this book. Essentially, Candide is a young boy. He was taught by his mentor to have this optimistic outlook on life that all is for the best, everything happens for the best, and then you just proceed to see him go through the most horrific circumstances. Everyone around him's dying, then they somehow come back to life later, and people's bodies get torn to pieces, and then they end up not dying, and he loses the love of his life, and then he finds her, and then he loses her again, and he kills people. Like, it is literally so absurd. You don't even believe any of this is real. But then the ending is so funny. Like, it's so funny what happens in this book. He has this belief that all is for the best. He's seeing people die. He's seeing war. He's seeing famine. He's seeing the worst parts of humanity. And then the book ends. I don't want to say it. Honestly, I can't imagine most people desiring to read this. So just ignore the next 20 seconds of this video if you don't want me to tell you the ending, but here's the ending. Essentially, all this stuff goes down. He has the opportunity to live in a palace with fortunes and leaves it behind for a woman who ends up not even wanting him and losing her beauty and all these crazy things. The end of the book is just him cultivating a garden in a small home. The end of the book is his mentor telling him, if all of these things hadn't happened, if you hadn't fallen in love with this woman, if you hadn't stabbed this man, if you hadn't done all these things, we wouldn't be here eating pistachios on this small farm. And Candide's response is, all that is very well, answered Candide, but let us cultivate our garden. Every absurdity in this book ends with them just sitting on a farm cultivating the little garden in their house. Voltaire nailed the genre of satire perfectly on the head, but I didn't like this book. I just felt like it was absurd. It was too much violence. It was too much. So I don't recommend it, but it makes sense that Rory Gilmore read it. And here's my last Rory Gilmore outfit. Have my sweatpant jeans and my favorite eBay find ever, this knit sweater. Thank you so much for watching. I honestly had such a great time reading like this for a week. I definitely want to include more classic literature in my reading, and I would love to cross out the Rory Gilmore reading challenge one day. There are hundreds of books on there, and I've read quite a few, but quite a few means maybe like 15% of the list. So I love you guys. I'll see you next week.